Welcome to the Fairways of Life show.
It takes a lot of work to get to this point in my career.
Gents, here's where I want to go now.
If I can practice, I know I can still do it.
Great players are ones who rise to the occasion.
And go again.
With the most candid interviews.
Well, I'll tell you a little story.
Ice cream is the motivator.
But an ice cream is so good.
Scottie.
Taking you beyond the ropes.
Maddie, let me just bring you over here.
So there's the Ryder Cup Masters Trophy.
Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What is going on, folks? We have made it to week number 2, the March in the FedEx Cup playoffs. And week 1, I mean, is there anybody surprised when Scottie Scheffler does Scottie Scheffler type things, right? I mean, that's who he is. Here's the final leaderboard you can see up over my shoulder. Scheffler finishing on 17 under, an 8-shot victory. Siwoo Kim solo behind him on 9 under. Remember, Sam Burns was actually, they were talking about maybe making one more birdie and getting solo second himself. Instead, he made a bogey and dropped to 8 under, tying with Alex Noren on that number. Wyndham Clark finishing on 7 under. Sungjae Im on the same mark. Then tied for 7th, Ludwig Oberg silently just staying in contention, playing solid. Xander has of late as well, and Hideki Matsuyama showing some very, very good form. Speaking about good form, check this out. This is the FlightScope Did You Know? Log on to flightscope.com and check out the new Mevo Gen 2. Check out the i4 rangefinder and more. The Scheffler stretch, this is his last 58 events, right? So in 58 events, he has had 16 victories. Think about that. That includes 3 majors, an Olympic gold medal, a Players, a Tour Championship, and, of course, the FedEx Cup. In 58 events, 46 of those have been top 10s. In 2024, all the way down the bottom of this graphic, in 2024, in 20 events, he had 8 wins in a major, 17 top 10s. In 2025, once again, 20 events, 6 wins, 2 majors, and 17 top 10s. In 2026, 18 events so far, he's had 2 wins and 12 top 10s. Most impressive indeed. And when you think about Scottie Scheffler, we talk about it all the time, like when he had his interview last Sunday with Amanda Balionis, and she was talking about Scottie, you know, statistically, you've had your best season ever. Again, let that kind of simmer for a second. It reminds us of, you know, a couple years ago now with Nelly Korda, where she didn't win, but she was performing extremely well. It shows you that razor-thin, narrow divide between being there and actually being the victor on a particular week. So check this out in terms of the statistics with Scottie Scheffler and where he stands with his control at the top, which is most impressive indeed. If you take a look at stats on the PGA Tour, strokes gained total, Scheffler, there he is, number 1. Strokes gained tee to green, Scheffler, number 1. These aren't all of them, by the way. This is just some of them. Strokes gained off the tee, Scottie is 4th. Strokes gained approach, Scottie is 6th. Strokes gained putting, Scottie is 3rd. That's how strong the performance of Scottie Scheffler has been. As to on Sunday, now look, he hadn't won in a long time, right? There were a lot of people asking questions. It was kind of funny. It's almost humorous, the what's wrong with Scottie conversation. What's wrong with Scottie conversation? He continually knocks on the door, and he constantly says how tough it is to win on the PGA Tour. But he closed this one out in a record margin. So let's start there with Scottie Scheffler. What was it like? What were you thinking? What were you feeling coming down the stretch?
Yeah, it was good. I felt like I had some close calls this year, so it was nice to finish the tournament off. And it was good. I played solid golf all day, really all week, and Yeah, it's really nice. This tournament, I felt like I've learned a lot at this tournament over the years. It was my second start on the PGA Tour, I think back in 2014, and then my first start as a pro in 2018. And so I played this tournament a number of times now, and definitely proud to be walking away with that trophy this week. Yeah, this is a golf course that I feel like has challenged me over the years. I had, 2 good starts the last couple of years, but outside of that, I hadn't played my best golf around this course, and it was nice to come out this week and play some solid golf and, really execute when I needed to. This is a course where that's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of holes where there's not even a correct miss. It's just a matter of stepping up there and hitting really good shots. And today was a challenging day. The scores late in the day. The golf course seemed to play really difficult, and I did a good job of hitting a lot of greens and saving some pars when I needed them.
It has been a really good year with all your top finishes, but did the runner-ups and the close calls, did it get irritating after a while? Were you fed up with it?
I think when you're close and, it's not easy to win out here. And I felt like this year, the year that I've had kind of shows that, how difficult it is. We have a lot of talented guys, and I played some really solid golf over the course of this year, but I hadn't played much, kind of great golf. And, like I said, I had my close calls and, lost a couple playoffs. So it was nice coming into a day in which I had the lead and able to hold that lead and really kind of build on it as the round went on. And, I felt like a week like this was coming, and I felt like I was on repeat all year, just being like, hey, I'm playing solid, I'm close, and it feels good to be answering some different questions at the end of this week.
So while I was listening to that sound from Scottie, I opened up some of those other stats I was telling you about. Scoring average, number 1 on the PGA Tour, Scottie Scheffler. Birdie average, number 1 on the PGA Tour is Scottie Scheffler. I already told you about strokes gained total. You saw that on that list, as well as greens in regulation. He leads those as well. Scrambling, he's also number 1. So many different categories. Scottie Scheffler is number 1 on the PGA Tour, always knocking on the door of the top 5 or better. So this Scottie Scheffler, what could this mean as we march on to the BMW Championship this week, and then ultimately to the Tour Championship? And then from there, what impact could it have on the President's Cup and more? We're going to be getting to more on the President's Cup here coming up in just a little bit. But first of all, more from Scottie Scheffler. In this cut, he talks about what were the keys to success this week.
A lot of ball striking. I gave myself a lot of looks. I wasn't putting for par that often. I did my best to stay out of the hazards. Maybe only lost a couple balls in the hazards this week, which is around this place isn't so bad. And I'd say iron play and putting was probably huge for me this week.
Scottie, statistically, this was your best strokes gained putting week of your career. I guess first, does that surprise you at all, given the ball striking that you were mentioning? But then also, what was the key to your work on the greens this week?
Yeah, I felt like I hold a lot of those kind of 15 to 20 footers. I felt like the first day was a day in which I was just around the hole all day pretty much. And, the last 3 days I just putted the ball pretty nicely. And, I'm not sure how many strokes I gained on the greens, but like I said, I had a really good week on the greens and my approach play as well. I was able to give myself a lot of looks and putt aggressively from there. I didn't really feel like I was putting for par a ton over the course of the week. And, it definitely helps you feel freer on the greens for sure.
You talked about your sharpness with your irons. Did you do anything between Minnesota and coming here?
Yeah, I went home, got a few days of rest, got out practicing. Felt like I found something, kind of just getting my hands on the club. And, I had a really good kind of prep week coming in, probably the best I played at home over the course of this year. And I didn't really feel like I needed to be on the range hitting balls. I just went out and played pretty much all weekend. And, I didn't really spend much time practicing. I was just getting out playing, competing, and I played well. And, I felt like a good week was coming, and it was nice to come in here feeling like I'm playing well and to show up and kind of do it.
How many of those games with Siwoo?
A few.
How'd it go?
Better for me than Siwoo.
All right, so world number 1, Scottie Scheffler, earns his 21st PGA Tour title in his 168th start. He did it at the ripe old age of now 30 years, 1 month, and 26 days. His 8-stroke margin of victory is the largest by any player on tour since he did it at the 2025 CJ Cup, the Byron Nelson, same margin. He becomes the 5th player in the last 40 years to record multiple wins of 8+ strokes on tour. He joins Tiger Woods, who did it 10 times. Ernie Els did it twice. Dustin Johnson did it twice. Rory McIlroy has done it twice. As to those stats you just heard the press discussing with Scottie Scheffler, he led the field in strokes gained putting with a career best plus 8.92, almost picking up 9 strokes on the average of the field. That is remarkable. It's just the second event on tour in his career as a leader in strokes gained putting. The other was the 2021 U.S. Open at plus 8.66. He ranked second in strokes gained approach to green, picking up 6.643 strokes, and third in strokes gained tee to green, picking up 7.444 strokes. This is how dominant he was. He led all players with 23 birdies. The next best was Tom Kim, who had 21. He did have 6 bogeys on the week. That was tied for the second fewest bogeys or worse. The win comes in his 7th appearance at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. His previous best was a tie for 3rd. That was back in 2025. He entered the week with 794-point lead over number 2 Matt Fitzpatrick in the FedEx Cup standings. With the win, he earned 750 points. He now holds a 1,447-point lead over Fitzpatrick. With the winner of next week's BMW Championship set to receive at 750 points, he secured the number 1 position in the FedEx Cup standings ahead of the Tour Championship, regardless of what happens with the BMW Championship the end of this week. His 2026 season notes so far, he earns, of course, his 2nd win of the season and his first since the American Express, becomes a 5th player with multiple wins this season, becomes the 5th consecutive season with multiple wins on the PGA Tour, 12th top 5 finish in 18 starts this season, which is remarkable, including those 2 wins and 5 runner-up finishes. In 18 starts this season, he owns 17 made cuts, all of which have resulted in top 25 finishes. He becomes the 36th player to reach 21 career wins in the PGA Tour. He sits tied for 32nd on the all-time wins list in PGA Tour history, joining Davis Love III, Willie McFarlane, Lanny Watkins, and Craig Woods with that distinction. Get this, youngest players to reach 21 career wins on tour since 1970. Tiger Woods did it at 24 years, 6 months, and 23 days. Jack Nicklaus did it at 27 years, 1 day. Scottie Scheffler, as I mentioned, his age, he did it at 30 years, 1 month, and 26 days. 4th on that list, and very close to Scottie, is Tom Watson at 30 years, 7 months, and 16 days. Most impressive indeed. Now, when we're talking about the FedEx Cup, of course, you're going to be talking about all of those other factors that come into play. Who made it inside of the top 50 to get to the BMW Championship this week? Who is hoping to get inside of the top 30 to get to the Tour Championship next week? So let's take a look at the bubble. Those who were close and stayed in, those who were close perhaps but did not stay in. You can see Thigala, Brennan, Cole, McNeely, Matt McCarthy was absolutely the bubble boy at 50. However, that meant that Keith Mitchell was unable to get it done. He needed that 1 birdie coming down the stretch and didn't get it. Jordan Spieth got close, but he did not get it. Remember, if this was 2028 with the new structure of the tour, then you'd look at it and go, look, Jordan didn't get into you remember it locks down with the top 50 after the BMW Championship. Or into the BMW Championship, I should say. He didn't get that. But will he get sponsors exemptions in 2027? Max Homa at number 53. Harris English at number 54. Big names as you look through many of those that now are on the outside looking in. So Jordan Spieth was asked by the media following the round if he was aware of where he stood and how much that played upon his mind.
I mean, kind of. I mean, I figured 2 was plenty fine today, and 1 probably wasn't. 1 might end up being, but you know, I mean, it was. If I shot 3 under, 7 under was going to be plenty fine, and if I settled 1 short, I'd be sweating it. I thought, but you always want to kind of push it to maybe a lower number than what's expected, but it didn't affect the way I played any holes or anything. So yeah, I mean, it was a tall task coming in. I was going to need to finish essentially in the top 10 this week. and fell just shy of it. But it's funny, I just feel like I'm kind of getting back to playing really good golf, like it's close to kicking off, and I'm not going to play a tournament for a long time. So in some ways I feel like I'm leaving some out there, and in some ways it's a good thing because, like I mentioned after the first round, this will be the last time I finish like this for a while. Like I'm very, very confident in what's coming. I just ran out of steam and maybe made a couple bad decisions over about a 6-week stretch on what I was working on, and I just didn't quite have enough time to make up for it.
It's interesting with Jordan Spieth, isn't it? Because he's always maintained what I like to call a competitive armor, which is his confidence, this idea that I'm really, really close. And in fairness to him, his play has shown that he is now probably closer than we've seen him in a long time. I think you'd probably agree, for whatever reasons you want to define, Jordan is still one of the most entertaining players to watch, because he could stand up on a tee. Remember a couple of weeks ago, tee off with an iron, hit it out of bounds, but he can also hit shots that are crazy good, or make those putts that you don't expect anybody else to make, well, other than Jordan Spieth. However, it was not enough. So when he talks about the irony of playing well and not having any place to play for some number of weeks, that is the situation that he is in. Now, remember, he can play into the fall series, and when he's into the fall series, hopefully he will be able to better his lot, as so many players will be trying to do as we are getting closer and closer to the cutoff. So we've got a big show planned for you today, because all of these questions that are kind of floating around, and we set the table such as we did deliberately. You're still to hear on the show today from Rory McIlroy and more, but what about Scottie Scheffler in the FedEx Cup playoffs? Is it foregone? Well, it isn't with the Tour Championship, because remember, those points honestly don't mean anything as you come into that final event. But in the Player of the Year performance coming into that final event and the final event mean a lot. So has Scottie Scheffler done enough to be deemed the Player of the Year? We will have a panel discussion on that and debate the same, whether it's him or whether it is someone else. The Solheim Cup, we're getting closer and closer to a lockdown on all of those numbers. Remember, Angela was with us last week. She's going to make her picks coming up on Monday. So we're going to know who the American Solheim Cup team is. We already know on the European side. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. Plus, the American President's Cup team. How solid is the American President's Cup team right now? How comfortable do you feel about that team when you got a player that's, well-positioned within that team that seems to be still having issues with his back, and say a Colin Morikawa? Is it foregone that a player with the experience of Justin Thomas gets put on the American President's Cup team? Or is Justin Thomas too much of a risk? He too, after coming off back surgery at the end of last year, but his form has not yet been the same as what it was. So here we had the American captain saying, oh, no, we're going to pick the top 12 because Brandt said those are the players that I want on my team. If you're one of the top 12, you're going to get on the team. Would you overlook someone like Justin Thomas because he's not there right now? Or would you look at some of the young players that are playing well this season and go, we're going to take a flyer on them instead? Is the President's Cup the place to do that? And I don't mean any disrespect to the President's Cup, but is that a proving ground then for the Ryder Cup? Or on the other side of it, the international team for the President's Cup, are they particularly positioned this year that this may be the year that they grab it back again? Jeff Ogilvy is their captain, Medina number 3. His firm was involved in the renovations. Is that kind of an inside track of additional information? We're going to go down that road talking about all of this and more as the Fairways of Life show continues. Do not forget that Ben Hogan Golf is back. The product is as beautiful as it's ever been, truly works of art, but these works of art are packed with modern technology so that you can truly play your very best. The relationship is direct from you to them. No middleman. They are your tour truck, and I know how proud you would be to have the Ben Hogan name etched right into the middle the metal of your clubs. Log on to benhogangolf.com for more information.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me? We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own style.
We swing our own swing. But we have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
At PXG, we keep score too. The longest, fastest driver on tour. The #1 iron and distance testing. Thousands of 5-star customer reviews. But the score that really matters is yours. You're chasing better, and baby, that's what gets us up in the morning. Come in, get fit, and experience what PXG can do for your score. PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Every golfer dreams of reaching the next level. FlightScope Nevo Gen 2 gives you 18 data parameters with the accuracy you demand to improve your game, all measured with FlightScope's patented fusion tracking. Its 6-hour battery life gives you uninterrupted play and practice outdoors and indoors. Tee it up on the included simulation bundle. See your shots come to life with the FlightScope AR Tracer. Have fun, improve your game, shoot lower scores with no required subscriptions. Buy your FlightScope Nevo Gen 2 now at FlightScope.com.
Winning again and again and again. But this didn't start here.
In all transparency, we do testing and it's like, it's not that different. But this time it was really different. It's exciting. It's really fast.
The difference? The new Tour BX. Faster speed, increased distance, control when it counts, dominating off the tee. There's a reason for this run. Tour B. It's no coincidence.
Nice one.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams, and I have skin cancer, just like almost 10% of the U.S. population, but even more scary, 30% of us golfers. So once again, the legacy of Arnold Palmer is leading the game with Arnie's Mineral Sunscreen. It's a lightweight SPF 50 mineral-based sunscreen that's clean, safe, non-greasy, and no fuss. Log on to shoparnies.com to protect yourself and live life to the fullest, just like the king.
As we welcome you back to the Fairways of Life show, Matt Adams here with you. As you just heard in our first segment, we were going deep on a lot of the storylines right now that are pretty much defining the game. Certainly the FedEx Cup playoffs are part of that. As we march closer to the President's Cup, there are a lot of stories that surround that too. My sense is that this is a year that the international team is going to be incredibly strong. How is Team USA compared to that? There are some spots of players that you would think perhaps are almost automatic to make the U.S. side, at least is if you compare it to the last few President's Cup, Ryder Cups accordingly. But there are some injuries there that continue to linger. So we'll get into that discussion as well. plus what we saw from the week that was from Scottie Scheffler and what it all means. I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Steve Scott, a PGA Tour live analyst. You guys are familiar with Steve because he's a former #1 ranked amateur in the world. Colin Swatton is joining us, also an analyst for PGA Tour Live. He's also one of the great coaches in the world of golf, and you may be familiar with him with his work as a caddy on the PGA Tour as well. Gents, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. Pleasure to have your company as always. Steve, if I want to just jump in with you on what you heard me just alluding to with the play of Scottie Scheffler, finally breaks through, gets that second win. Does that kind of underscore with honestly a little bit of humor when we were talking about, gee, what's wrong with Scottie Scheffler? Nothing. Thank you very much. What are your thoughts?
No, absolutely nothing is wrong with Scottie Scheffler. I mean, if you think about, you go down the stats, right? I mean, that's kind of where the truth lies. And I know he had 5 runner-up finishes this year so far leading into this last week. But this week was just he just rolled over the whole competition. It was really no contest, it seemed like, on Sunday afternoon. Look, I think Scottie Scheffler, he's #1 in so many categories. He does so many things well. But when he is on, he is really on. He is by far and away better than anybody else out there playing right now. And if you think about what he has done, you look at all these stats right here. One of the things that really jumps out to me was that 54-hole conversion rate. He is now 11 for 11. And the reason is because he is 3rd in strokes gained putting. I mean, we always said a few years back when he was 162nd in strokes gained putting that all he would have to do is putt well or putt decent to win. And now he's putting exceptional. There's only 2 players on the tour that are better than him on the green. So Scottie Scheffler is doing some really great stuff.
Colin, from a coach's perspective, I know this question is almost cliche in the game right now to ask a coach and say, well, would you have changed Scottie Scheffler's swing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to come at it with a little bit of a different angle, if you would allow, which is this. What is it about Scottie's swing that is so effective?
Number one, he gets the ball to pin high better than anything. Now, when you look at the swing, Matt, it's unconventional. His feet are going all over the place. Last week in Memphis, it was referenced a little bit to the footwork of the great Elvis Presley. But I think the thing that really stands out with Scottie Scheffler is his willingness to not accept anything else but the best. He talked about in his press conference afterwards, when I'm with my family, I want to be 110% focused on my family. When I'm practicing, I want to be 110% focused on my practice. And when I'm playing, I want to give it everything that I've got. And certainly that result last week, 17 under, an 8-shot victory over Siwoo Kim, was evident of that. And it's credit really to Randy Smith, his coach, longtime coach, that realistically he hasn't buckled. He's just stayed with what he knows Scottie Scheffler does well, and he won't allow the chatter around him to interfere with his belief and his skill set with Scottie. It was very, very well documented at the back of the driving range there at the Players Championship and again at the Masters. They had some long sessions back there, and there was a lot of hand waving, a lot of gesturing. Scottie was obviously incredibly upset with the way that he was swinging the golf club, but Randy just stayed true to the course, and they came out the other side of it, better for it. And, Steve alluded to it. It's like, all those runner-up second places, it could have been a year that we saw last year.
Gents, let's take a look at this graphic of the 50, of course, this week that will be teeing up at the BMW Championship. And one of those players at number 13 is Rory McIlroy. So, Steve, can I get your thoughts on Rory McIlroy? First of all, we didn't think he was going to be there. Then apparently he spoke to Brian and said, why don't you go? It's important, and obviously it is. Rory's an interesting case. He told us afterwards that he was just off his game. Is it the physical game? Is it the mental game? Is it the engagement for Rory McIlroy? Where do you see him?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think what he mentioned in that interview last week, and he said, yeah, I had a conversation with Brian Rolap and blah, blah, blah. And I think that was actually the key point of that whole interview, was that he kind of needed to have a conversation with him to want to go there. I feel like Rory was just not just not there. I mean, the golf course, he didn't play it in 2025. He did not play the FedEx St. Jude Championship. 2024, he did play, finished, might have beat about 2 players that year as well. So you've got to be mentally into it. Certainly, he took some time off. He talked about he wasn't necessarily at his fighting weight, so to speak. He might have had a little, good time over the summer, a little bit the last few weeks since the Open Championship, which was his last start. And he was up to about 180 pounds. Oh boy, too bad. and now he really says his fighting weight's about 174. So I expect him this week. He'll get a little bit closer to that, but I don't think he was really engaged a whole lot last week.
Colin, what do you think? Is this Rory McIlroy, if you please, a kinder and gentler one from a competitive standpoint? Is he smelling the roses?
Yeah, I had the chance to talk to Rory after he completed the Grand Slam, and the first thing that he said to me was, "I just want to enjoy this, and nobody's letting me enjoy this moment, and I've just reached a milestone in my career, and I just want to have the time to let it breathe like a fine wine." And I guess too, we expect so much of Rory McIlroy with regards to the schedule, but he was honest in the beginning of the season. He said, "I'm going to cut my schedule back. I'm going to trim it back." In fact, he might not get even to the event minimum of 15 this season unless he, sticks one air in the fall season, which I don't believe is going to happen. Those discussions he's having with Brian Rolap just to turn up at Memphis, was one in case. He's going to have another one. Otherwise, there's going to be question marks with regards to his PGA Tour, status. But I think with Rory, I think the result that he had last week was just evident of having 3 weeks off leading into that event. In general, he doesn't play well because he has so much leading off into that event. But Rory McIlroy, he's a fierce competitor. I know he's not jealous that Scottie's getting all of the attention at the moment, but he loves being in the conversation. He's a fierce competitor, and I know he's going to stick his head up in the next 2 events and be heard.
Love my team here today with Steve and Colin. We will continue the conversation with these two gentlemen after this quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk about, the bubble boys, those that stayed in and got it to the BMW and those who just missed out. And some pretty big names missed out, including that of Jordan Spieth. What does it all mean? Plus, we want to go down the road of a deeper conversation about the player of the year. Is it now Scottie Scheffler? He has 2 wins. There's other players with more victories out there. Chris Gotterup has 3. Where do you stand on all of that? Where you stand when you're up to the tee, you want to hit it as far as you possibly can, and you want to make sure that ball stays in play. That's exactly what Newton golf shafts deliver. With their new fast motion shafts, they will ensure that, among other things, you're going to feel load at the top of your golf swing, which, with all due respect, I suspect it may be the first time you've ever felt that in your golfing life. That's because of their 360 symmetry, the way these beautiful golf shafts are built, and there's a reason why they are making so much noise in the golf industry in 2026. NewtonGolfCo.com for more information. Stay with us.
Slam dunk. What a shot.
Every tournament starts here all season long.
As we welcome you back to the Fairways of Life show, my guests are Steve Scott and Colin Swatton. Psyched to get their perspective on what's coming up. 2026 Player of the Year candidates. You've probably heard the debates raging. How do you judge a player of the year? Do you look at what Scottie Scheffler has done in his body of evidence in terms of consistency of performance and where he stands in major statistical categories, of which most of those he's at the top? Or do you judge it based upon what I think might be the highest measure? Wins in major championships and then wins at large. Let's jump right in with our gents here. Colin, let me start with you. If I may, when you look at these names, Who stands out to you if we had to make the decision right now as the 2026 Player of the Year?
I think the conversation at this time of the year always comes up Player of the Year, and it's a testy topic because nobody really knows, is it just wins? Is it major champion wins? Do they carry extra weight? Does a Players' Championship carry extra weight? And you can see that Matthew Fitzpatrick, Chris Goddard both have 3 wins on the season so far. Matthew Fitzpatrick, obviously 2 runner-up finishes. But Scottie Scheffler, it's hard to sort of not put him in that conversation simply because of the 5 runner-up finishes. But, I think when you hold these players at the end of the year and you say, I want you to measure your season, I want you to evaluate your season, always it comes to wins. And I think that, for me, puts Matthew Fitzpatrick at that point where 3 wins, 2 runner-up finishes. I think if it was to end right now, which was your question, I think he would have to be my Player of the Year.
Now, Matt Fitzpatrick has those 3 wins. One of them is a team win, of course, with his brother, which is one of the great feel-good stories of 2026. Chris Goddard has 3 individual wins. How much are we splitting hairs between, say, those 2 players?
I think that's always going to be a point of topic. Is there an asterisk by the name there on a team win? And you mentioned obviously the Zurich Classic where he teamed up with his brother Alex, who just on a side note has just played his way incredibly as a player on the PGA Tour. I think then you start to look at those individual wins, but at the end of the day, it's 3 wins, 3 wins. The ball is on the line, and on the line means it's in. Both of those players, in my opinion, stand out because they've won 3 times. If you had to split that, then you'd start to look at the weight of those wins, the fields that they beat, and then that's when it would be a conversation itself between Chris and Matt.
All right, so let's, Steve, go to your side here and ask you the same question. You saw the list of players that we are considering, and you can choose outside of this list if there's someone that stands out to you. But who, if you were making this choice today, would it be Scottie Scheffler or would it be somebody else?
Oh, look, for me, I think it starts and ends with Scottie Scheffler. All of those numbers, everything that he's done, certainly he hasn't had 3 wins like Fitzpatrick or Goddard. The 5 runner-ups, I'm always partial to runner-ups, by the way. But the whole body of work, 12 top 5s, so consistent throughout the year. When he comes to a tournament, he shows up, he's ready to go. And there's no backing off. Certainly number 1 in the world golf rankings, number 1 in the FedEx Cup, and number 1 strokes gained total. All those things factor into it as well. I think Scottie Scheffler, and maybe it's a recency bias sort of thing, but when you win by 8 shots over a field that's that elite, you are the elite of the elite. And so Scottie would get my vote for sure.
All right, fascinating to see how that's going to ultimately play itself out. This is what Steve was just referencing. When you look at the stats in their entirety for Scottie Scheffler, it's crazy. And this is just some of them, bear in mind. Strokes gained total, he's number 1. Strokes gained tee to green, he's number 1. Strokes gained off the tee, he's 4th. Strokes gained approach, he's 6th. Strokes gained putter, Scottie Scheffler now is 3rd. Most impressive indeed. All right, I want to talk to you guys while we have the last couple of minutes here with you about the President's Cup. I have this funny feeling with the international team this year that they are poised. Here's a look at the 2 teams respectively. This is the current standings down to 15th, if you will. Colin, let me start with you, if I may. When you look at the international side, and I make note of the fact that he's wearing his President's Cup polo today, which looks great. Am I picking up on something on the international team? Is something taking place here?
Oh, definitely. I think when you look at the top 6 players there, I think you see a lot of players that are in form. You see also 2 players that are seasoned and have had several times playing in the President's Cup. Siwoo Kim has played 3. Hideki Matsuyama has played 6. Adam Scott's played 11. Even Tom Kim, as young as he is, just 24 years of age, is also and two President's Cups under his belt. So a lot of those players are in current form now. But I think too, when you go down that list, and as a captain, and Jeff Ogilvy's got some decisions he has to make here. There's some question marks around a couple of players there on that list. Jason Day, he's been out injured since the U.S. Open. He's played some events, but some spotty finishes there. He brings obviously some experience to the team. But then you start to go down and look, and you look at Casey Jarvis and also Jaden Schaefer. Both of those players are actually winners on the DP World Tour. They may not be well noticed or well known here on the PGA Tour, but they bring firepower. They bring a winning mindset. And I think that might be also, too, what you're picking up. Sung J M, obviously last week, he looked very, very solid in Memphis as well. So I think there's a conversation. When you look at the numbers just don't say that the internationals have a chance. But I think as a proud international, let's say, caddy and coach, I think there's always that uncertainty that comes around at President's Cup time. And I know these guys will be ready to go, and Jeff's going to do an amazing job.
All right, so Steve, let's jump over to the Team USA side. Is it foregone that the United States will continue their dominance in this competition, or is there the possibility that there might be some questions on that team in terms of who stays and who goes? Remember, Brandt Snedeker told us he wants the 12 best players, full stop. It's not about what you've done in the past.
Right. I think if you're looking at that list, I feel like number 1 through number 12 would be just fine. Just take 1 through 12 and call it a day. I think that they are all very, very solid in there. Ben Griffin hasn't showed us a lot this year at number 5. So I don't think he'll slip outside of that top 6 automatic picks, but all his 3 wins came last year. Colin Morikawa's played very well. Wyndham Clark is playing well this year. Got her up. Schauffele solid. JJ Spawn he's been a little off with the putter. So if I could see somebody getting knocked off of there, maybe it's JJ Spawn. Maybe you substitute him. I know we've talked a lot about a Jackson Coyven, or getting one of these young guys like a Michael Brennan, somebody in there that to get them some great experience, number one, get them involved, get their long tee shots very involved as well, because I think that course at Medina there, number 3, is going to need the long hitters, just like Aldrich Potgieter on the international side. I think at number 14, I think he could jump in there. But if you took 1 through 12 right now on the list, I don't think the U.S. would really have a problem winning. Their record is very good, and I think they'd be continuing to be very solid.
Steve, you heard Colin talk about Jason Day and the issues that he's been having with his back recently. Do you have any concern about that with Colin Morikawa?
I do a little bit. I do. I mean, he could very well say, "Hey, I'm good. I'm going to just take the fall off and get healthy." That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Maybe if you're Colin Morikawa's camp, and that might introduce an opportunity for one of those players that I mentioned a moment ago to jump in there. But yeah, the back is definitely an issue. These players, and take note, as different than the international squad, the American squad plays every single year in one of these. Ryder Cup, President's Cup, Ryder Cup, President's Cup. They are fully engaged. They're needing to be fully engaged in the fall every year, and it's really hard. And so it wouldn't surprise me if Morikawa said, "No, I'm good. I'm going to get healthy."
All right, let's take a look at this. This is presented by Superstroke USA. Get a grip. These are players that are on the edge. Maybe if there is an opening, say, on Team USA. Colin, I'm going to start with you if we can. Here you see their respective rankings currently on the points. Jacob Bridgman, Akshay Bhatia, Ryan Gerard, Alex Smalley, respectively, and their resumes. These players are all in their 20s. Is this a good opportunity? I know at times people hate to say, well, the President's Cup, especially the captain and his vice captains, President's Cup is not a warm-up team for the Ryder Cup, but would it be a good opportunity to get one of these young players onto the squad?
It's interesting you said that, Matt. When Steve was going through his picks there, I was like, oh, thank goodness he's left Ryan Gerard out of the conversation. So you quickly brought it back, which is great. I think Brandt Snedeker, the captain, has a wealth of talent at his disposal, and he can bring in anyone here. Two guys that stand out to me. Akshay Bhatia hasn't been in great form recently, so I'd be leaning towards Jacob Bridgman or Ryan Gerard. I know Ryan hasn't had a win this season, but boy, oh boy, he swings his own swing. He plays his own game. And then Jacob Bridgman, one win, obviously, at the Genesis. He's had 4 top 10s this season. But when you think of Ryder Cup, when you think of President's Cup, when you think of big moments, you need big putters. And I can't go past Jacob Bridgman, first in strokes gained putting. He has to be on that team if there's a spot available in my thoughts.
All right, so in my studio, I have a bank of monitors in front of me, and I could see Steve shaking his head yes as you were talking about that. Steve, jump right in.
Yeah, great putters win in match play, and Colin's got it right. He's seen it up close. I mean, look, if you are a great putter and you can make a 20-footer for par and your opponent misses a 10-footer for birdie and you tie the hole, that's really demoralizing for that guy who just missed the birdie putt, and it always propels you on to the next one. Great putters, just continue on. It propels, it fuels great match play. And keep in mind, this is match play. This is not stroke play. We don't play much match play on the PGA Tour, and they're two different mentalities. And Colin is exactly right. Great putters win in match play. I think Jacob Bridgman would be really good on that American squad.
All right, Steve, so let me give you your shot to talk about some players. What about this list of players that are, what do I call it, hot right now? Do any of them, because remember, it was only a couple weeks ago, we were all talking about Jackson Koiven. We got to put him on the team, or not. What do you think about this list of players?
Well, Jake Knapp is very intriguing. Certainly, he's got the long ball. I think he's over his injury with his left thumb, which is problematic for a long hitter like he is. But he played very well last week, was in second place for a moment in Sunday's afternoon. I think he would be somebody if he played well over the next 2 weeks. And I think Belle Reve is a golf course that fits a Jake Knapp. Thor Bjornsson, he's the new hotness out there, as is Jackson Koiven at 48. Davis Thompson, I don't think he does that. He doesn't do it for me. But Jackson Koiven, he's proven himself at all the levels. He's an amazing match play player. I mean, shoot, just a year ago, he was playing the Walker Cup with Tommy Morrison, and they both got a victory at Cypress Point, and they both won their first professional event on the same day recently. So he would be somebody that I would personally throw in there, given his recency of great play.
All right. I'm kind of thinking, Steve, with the players that you're throwing in there, the music is going to end. There's just not going to be enough chairs, but we'll see how it plays itself out. All right, Colin, let me jump back over to you again on the international side, and let's take a look at column bubble players if you want to. Who do you see here that you particularly like?
Nick Taylor has been out of form all season. You can see there no wins. He's had just 1 top 10 on the entire season. Taylor Pendrith, he's had a similar sort of year, as has Christian Bezuidenhout. Yalamaraju, he's an unknown entity at this moment. He came on the scene, obviously, at the Players' Championship. He finished tied for 5th there. Suddenly we're all like, wow, who's this kid? He's got all the skills. He's got all of the attributes. 3 top 10s on the season. To be honest, to be fair, I don't think they need to be in the conversation.
All right, so take us back 3 wide here, Andrew. Let me ask the question. Colin, will the international team win the President's Cup this year?
I hope so, Matt. My heart of hearts, I want to say that they win, but there's hope there. And that's just the way it is. They've only won once in President's Cup history. It's a strong team that the U.S. bring every single year. But the beautiful thing is, Matt, it's not played on paper. It's played on grass. So you never know. The uncertainty of the President's Cup, we saw it last year at the Ryder Cup. For a long time, it was looking like it was going to be over. But the U.S. team, obviously, too strong in the end. But it's one of those situations where I think if Jeff brings the team together, can create that gel, that chemistry. And I think a lot of it will to do with who he picks and who he brings in to play with different players. And I think if he can have those fellow countrymen together, I think that they can create a culture that can create a win. And it would be an unexpected win.
All right, so hope is not quite conviction, but Steve, the game of golf is literally built on hope. Is there a chance for the international side, or are you like, nah, it's going to be Team USA?
No, I think there is. And here's the big X factor that Colin didn't mention. Well, he talked about it's played on grass. Who put that grass on the golf course? Jeff Ogilvy. He redesigned and reimagined this Medina number 3 golf course. He knows all the nuances within it. So if there's any time that an international squad can get it done, it would be this year. I think they very well could do it with that guidance and that knowledge and that intimate knowledge of the golf course.
All right, where I wanted to end with you guys today, because of all of the news of late about Jon Rahm and speculation of whether he will or will not be coming back to the PGA Tour and what the structure of that return to the PGA Tour will be, if it's design of that which was Brooks Koepka's return. Steve, where do you stand on this for the PGA Tour? Do they need Jon Rahm?
I think they do. I think they need Rahm. I think they need all the stars that were formed on their tour back. However they get there is obviously up to them. I think the Brooks Koepka avenue has seemingly been a very fair avenue. In another year we could see Jon Rahm playing in Challenger Tour events, and it wouldn't be the worst thing for that 2-tier track system that they're looking at. Have some of these guys really help kind of boost that part of the tour up. Mm-hmm. I think it would be a great thing. So I'm all for, coming back, but coming back the right way.
Colin, how would you define that then? What does it mean to come back the right way? Do you want him back on the PGA Tour?
I think it was pretty obvious. When Live Golf came onto the scene, there was dissension amongst players on the PGA Tour. It was those guys that were like, hey, it's a money grab. You're going out. You're going to grab your money. You're going to go and play in that tour. But the commissioner then, at that moment, made it very clear, like, if you leave this tour, you're not welcome to come back. I think Brian Rolapp is understanding in the fact that the best players in the world need to compete on the best tour in the world. Does that include the likes of Brooks Koepka, Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, and some of the young superstars? Absolutely it does. But at the same time, there has to be some degree of penalty for leaving the PGA Tour. It was stated that way. Otherwise, it's not necessarily fair on the guys that didn't leave. Hideki Matsuyama was offered a lot of money, more than probably anyone has been, offered on the Live Golf Tour. He didn't take it because he wants to play and stay on the PGA Tour. How would he feel if suddenly they're brought back in through some sort of engineered loophole that, wasn't necessarily fair or at least offered in the beginning?
We'll see how that plays itself out. But, gents, thank you very much for joining us today. It's awesome to hear from both of you, and I love the fact that some of the opinions went in different directions. That's why we do this. So we wish you the very, very best. Looking forward to seeing you guys down the road.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks again, Matt.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Folks, we will be back with more of the Fairways of Life show right after this.
My name is David McLeod, golf course architect for the latest course at Streamsong. Welcome to Bone Valley.
Winning again and again and again. But this didn't start here.
In all transparency, we do testing and it's like, it's not that different. But this time it was really different. It's exciting. It's really fast.
The difference? The new Tour BX. Faster speed, increased distance, control when it counts, dominating off the tee. There's a reason for this run. Tour B. It's no coincidence.
Imagine your ultimate golf experience. There's a good chance it's Michigan's Magnificent 11. 11 spectacular courses from Boyne Golf, varied in both topography and play. Boyne Golf was named the #1 best golf destination in USA Today Reader's Choice 2025. And the Highlands at Harbor Springs is the #2 golf resort in that same USA Today poll. The ultimate golf experience. That's Michigan's Magnificent 11.
This is golf.
Nice shot, honey.
And this is Golf's Superstore.
Oh, yeah, we'll take this.
At PXG, we keep score too. The longest, fastest driver on tour. The #1 iron and distance testing. Thousands of 5-star customer reviews. But the score that really matters is yours. You're chasing better, and baby, that's what gets us up in the morning. Come in, get fit, and experience what PXG can do for your score. PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hub's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hub's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hub's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hub's Peanuts, it's just right. HubsPeanuts.com.
Every golfer dreams of reaching the next level. FlightScope Nevo Gen 2 gives you 18 data parameters with the accuracy you demand to improve your game, all measured with FlightScope's patented fusion tracking. Its 6-hour battery life gives you uninterrupted play and practice outdoors and indoors. Tee it up on the included simulation bundle. See your shots come to life with the FlightScope AR Tracer. Have fun, improve your game, shoot lower scores with no required subscriptions. Buy your FlightScope Nevo Gen 2 now at FlightScope.com.
4! This is golf, and this is Golf Superstore, the only place you can walk in for a free driver fitting, have it built, and tee it up the same day. Try Fit and Go today.
As we welcome you back to the Fairways of Life show, Matt Adams here with you. Pleasure to have your company from wherever around the globe you're joining us. These are the FedEx Cup Playoffs Top 50. The players who have made the cut out of week 1 to this week 2. Where is your favorite on this list? Rory McIlroy is down at 13th. He finished 66th, plus 8 last week, did Rory McIlroy. So, yeah, the question with Rory McIlroy you ask is, you know, first of all, let's take a look at the Rory McIlroy run because it's impressive. Last 62 global events, 9 wins, including 2 Masters, a Players, a Race to Dubai champion. He was part of the winning Ryder Cup team. Of course, they say away because it took place in New York. 30 top 10s. That's a 48% clip, which is absolutely remarkable. You can see in 2026, 14 events to this point, with 1 win, that being a major, and 5 top 10s for Rory McIlroy. So the way I would surmise the question that Rory was asked as we lead in basically is what happened this week?
He didn't come in here with a ton of reps, and almost felt like the more the week went on, the more I felt lost from the golf swing a little bit. So I figured it out a little bit the last few holes today, I think. But yeah, just sort of, swing wasn't in sync, and obviously didn't do a ton of practice coming in here. So I guess nice to shake the rust off a little bit, but I'm going to have to work pretty hard between now and next Thursday to feel like I have any sort of golf game to compete next week.
What do you feel like the next couple of days look like for you as far as that goes?
Yeah, I'm going to go home. I'll work with Michael and Harry. Just try to get the swing into some sort of better sync and better flow. And then go to Bell Reef Tuesday and obviously try to prepare for that golf course. But to me, it's more about obviously the execution of what I'm doing right now, and the execution wasn't there this week. And as I said, I'm going to have to sort of put the head down and grind from now until Thursday to try to feel like I have any sort of chance next week. When you're sort of working through some stuff in your swing, then you start to, I certainly do sometimes start to lose awareness of the target and start to you start to make the golf swing more important than the golf shot sometimes, and that's obviously not a good thing either. So it's sort of like that happy medium of, you wanting to get some feels in the golf swing, but at the same time, still trying to play golf out there and not, just thinking of the golf swing, which I sort of, after the bad finish on Thursday, I felt like I was just thinking of my golf swing the last few days. And as I said, felt a little bit better coming in today, but just need to do some work on it.
All right, so Rory McIlroy, he sounds bewildered, but he's leaving us bewildered as well. It's an interesting flow and ebb with Rory, because when he seems engaged, when he seems challenged, he seems unbeatable. But when he drifts away from that for whatever reason, remember, he wasn't even going to compete in this event. Then he came back and he said, no, it's important to be here. And, there was a lot of speculation on social media and media reports saying, oh, he spoke with Brian Rolapp. He spoke to the same. And he must convince him, yeah, it's pretty important for you to be there. But was he really there? And what will that mean for Rory McIlroy, who has a storied career, as you can see on that graphic, as he plays in week number 2. What about Sam Burns? Sam Burns ended up finishing in a tie for third. He finished on 8 under. As I mentioned earlier in the show today, it looked like potentially he was going to finish in second place alone, but instead of getting that elusive ending birdie, he ended up with a bogey late in his round, which dropped him into that tie for third. But Sam is playing so well. For Sam Burns, it's always the same kind of question when we're dealing with a player. He's a multiple-time winner on the PGA Tour, but who's knocking on the door on big events again. Is this a question of how close or how far?
I just looked at my stats for the week. I think I lost like 2.5 strokes off the tee. It's not a golf course you want to do that on. And I just played out of position a lot today. And it's a really, really difficult golf course from the rough. And unfortunately, I was in the rough a lot.
How do you take this result and momentum potentially into the next couple weeks here?
Good, yeah. I was just saying, honestly, the last 3 weeks at home, I didn't do a ton of golf. We have a newborn, and so it was nice to kind of come here and see kind of where my game is. Obviously, I have some work to do to get ready for next week with some longer clubs. But yeah, I hit the ball really nicely with my irons. I putted it good. So yeah, overall, I feel really good going into the next 2 weeks.
All right, so we'll see how it plays itself out for Sam Burns. How did it play itself out for Gino Tidekul? Well, she came back from behind with that final round 64. That was so impressive. What was going through her mind as she was making the march home?
The only things that in my mind is I have to make birdies. I feel like it's just a course that only answer is you need to make as much as you can to be able to host the trophy. So, but I'm pretty happy about the leaderboard. It's me, Pichaya, and then Sinead. We're all tied, and I seem like whoever can take this. I feel like it's just really good week for all the Thai players that we have been out here, playing the final round. And I do enjoy the challenging, the nervous, the challenge out there, especially the back nine.
This is your 10th win on the LPGA Tour and your 3rd this season. Just what does it mean to you to be so successful at such a young age?
Yeah, I think it will mean a lot to me. Golf is really love-hate relationship to me, and then to everyone too, I guess. Because when you win it, you're like, wow, how good is it test? But it had a time that you ask yourself, you're questioning yourself, that's what is going on, and then what can I do to make golf in my way? And then to be able to get this win, just really, worth the sacrifice that I have put in the work, the cryness, the sadness that we, waiting for. And then, I just love it anyway. Even golf slapped my face. But today, I think I win, not just the tournament, but I win my inner self, negative side. Yeah.
Very interesting comments from Gino. Congratulations on her victory, too. All right, our ESPN coverage of the BMW Championship. You can find it throughout ESPN. Remember, ESPN early, ESPN Plus all day, and then on the ESPN app, August 20th through the 23rd. As to the BMW Championship and that early coverage I was referencing on Thursday and Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. All these times are Eastern. You can find the coverage of the BMW Championship on the mothership on ESPN. From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., coverage will be on Golf Channel, both Thursday and Friday. 10 to noon on ESPN, 3 to 7 p.m. on Golf Channel. On Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., it starts on Golf Channel, and then it shifts over to CBS. That will be from 3 p.m. until the conclusion of play. On Sunday, another hour earlier coverage on Golf Channel from 12 to 2, and an hour earlier of coverage on CBS starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The BMW Championship on ESPN Plus. This is when I was referencing that it's available all day. Well, here is the evidence of the same. Thursday and Friday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday from 9:15 a.m. until 6 p.m. Eastern Time. PGA Tour Radio can be heard on Sirius XM. It can also be heard on the PGA Tour app. It can be heard on PGAtour.com. The latter of two are completely free. Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. respectively, and Saturday and Sunday from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, folks, thank you so much for your company this week. Always a delight to spend some time with you, talk about the game of golf and more, because there is so much to talk about at this time of year. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Until then, be well. Goodbye for now.